Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back to Who Wears Your Pants. This is my fucking show. Except for Jeff Willy. Dr. Willy is here today. The second doctor on the show. Oh my gosh. My friends are so smart. Anyway, Jeff is a scientist, a musician, an actor, a producer, a director, a creator.
And a dog walker as well. I walk my dogs.
And a dog walker, except for this past week.
Yeah.
When you were bedridden.
Yeah, I hurt my back. I was bending over to pick up a contact.
Strenuous work. Yeah. That's what happens when you're really young.
Yeah. It's the winter out here in California.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I was told not to talk about the weather. I was given specific instructions.
I have one rule on this show, and it is do not talk about the weather. I am serious because I already said this before we started rolling, but I think that talking about the weather is the death of a conversation, and we're just beginning. I don't want it to die.
I'm dying, though. I broke my back last week.
Oh my God. So you've recovered, though?
I have.
Okay, that's good.
I got lots of drugs and chiropractors, and yeah, I'm good.
All the drugs.
All the drugs.
So we're going to make this as uncomfortable for everybody as humanly possible the entire episode, show.
Sounds good.
Yeah? Okay. So for those of you guys that are listening or watching that don't know, Jeff and I act together, or we have acted together, and he's been in a bunch of really amazing stuff, and he was just telling us about one of his commercials that he was in. Would you like to share anything special from that experience?
Yeah, so I don't know if people have heard, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, have been for a few months. So one thing you have to do when you do some, smaller low budget commercials is your own makeup. So I was asked to do my own makeup, and I had never done that before. So I called a few of my friends and, asked them what to do. They said to go to this store called Sephora. Never heard of that. Walked in and...
I feel like your friends sent you to like a mid-level... I would have told you to go to CVS.
That's where I was going to go on.
Yeah.
And they said, don't go there.
Okay.
They said I would look like terrible on the commercial if I did that.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. So my goal is to get in and out as quickly as possible.
So you go into Sephora, you get your makeup.
Yeah. They were great. They were really nice. They gave me some stuff to put on me, I guess. Yeah, and I put it on and went to the shoot the next day, sort of a Verizon commercial, and Blue Jeans by Verizon.
Yeah, you're like, this low budget commercial, and I'm like, I think literally everyone on the planet knows what Verizon is.
Yeah, and they didn't even care. I was like, do I look okay? I've never done this before. I'm like all nervous, and they're just like, oh yeah, you're fine. So I was like, yeah.
Hey, that's the power of editing post-production. Yeah. I suppose. Or you just had flawless skin because the woman at Sephora helped you out so well.
That must have been it.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been in a ton of other stuff. What do you think is like your most exciting?
Most exciting?
Or like the proudest project that you've been a part of?
The proudest one, there was a LGBT rom-com that I wrote, self-funded and produced and acted in, called Reveal. It was a sort of a short film as a proof of concept, which I'm hoping to make a feature film out of, I hope, someday.
Yeah. And
that was one of the first times I saw my writing on screen, and it was inspired by some interesting family members in my life. So that was kind of cool just to see it come together. It did a great film festival run. It's on YouTube and Amazon now. So
yeah. I was an extra.
You were in some of the publicity posters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh. No, that's actually really fascinating that you said that it was the first time that you saw your writing on screen. And I remember watching this masterclass, the guy who wrote The West Wing, and he says he's like, it's the most amazing feeling that you ever experienced.
Yeah, I remember
Maybe he's never done drugs before. I don't know, but
I wouldn't know. No. I didn't go to college, right? But I remember before COVID hit, before this little pandemic, we went to the Santa Fe Film Festival. Was the first one we got in, and I was sitting there. I was so nervous to see how people would react to it. Obviously, it wasn't that bad of a film because it got into some film festivals. But I remember just hearing people get I actually watched the crowd more than I watched the film on the screen, and that was just exciting to watch the reactions and hear people laugh, and they're laughing at the movie, not at me, which was kind of cool. And there were spots where people were engaged and laughing and excited where I didn't expect them to react in a certain way. So
interesting.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun.
Cool. And like you did everything for that, pretty much. To bring that project to life.
Well, I wouldn't say everything. I mean, it takes a team. So I had a really nice group of friends here from the studio in San Diego that helped put that on. Financially, I did everything, but but yeah, it was a great cast and a great crew that helped put that together.
So you're saying that it was really fun, even just to be on set for like one day with everybody. That was a really cool experience. But I was gonna say that. You said that this was inspired by family members.
Yeah, so the movie Reveal, it was about it was a coming out story. So it's about the lead character is taking his boyfriend to a gender reveal party of one of his sisters. That was inspired because everyone in my family has been having babies lately, and they were all making these big deals out of these gender reveal parties. I don't get the big deal because it's a 50-50 shot, right? It's either a boy or a girl, but
or not.
Yeah, or true. Yeah. So sorry, I don't mean to sound so binary there. Yeah, but being part of the LGBT community, coming out is something everyone does, and it's not always easy. So, that was a big part of the story too. And, the reactions and, some people accept it, some people don't. And, we just kind of made a comedy out of it. So to make it a little more fun. Yeah.
Was that similar to your personal coming out experience?
Yeah, parts of it.
Okay.
Not like to a T, but, there was an element of it. Which I don't want to give away. Kind of want people to go watch it, but that was pretty similar. But.
Interesting. I will never forget after this film when there was that reveal party in San Diego that started that fire.
Yeah, that was not us.
When I saw that, I immediately thought of the movie, and I was like, oh, because. Well, I feel like I can't give anything away, but there's something in there that could cause a fire.
Yeah, what I can say is the fire alarms did go off at the house we were renting.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And but we did not cause any fires in Southern California.
Yeah, but the whole gender reveal thing, it just feels a little extreme to me. Not to change the subject, but.
Yeah, some of my family members made a pretty big deal out of it when they were having their children.
Yeah. I think I would want... I don't really even think about that. So, would you want to know?
Oh, I don't even want kids. So, if I had a kid, I guess.
Let's say that you got a dog and you had a gender reveal party for a dog.
Oh, I would totally have it for a dog. Yeah.
Or okay, you can tell right away if a dog is a boy or a girl, but what if it was you got some reptile and it was a turtle and you're telling all your friends to come over because you're going to have a gender reveal party for your turtle.
You know what? I think what's big now are the cake smash parties. Everyone's been doing those lately.
What's that?
Yeah, I guess you get a really expensive cake and you put it in front of a baby and for their first birthday, and then you make them smash it. No one gets to eat it. You just watch the baby smash it.
And then what?
Well, that's it. I know it's kind of anticlimactic.
Wait, I don't understand. So
I don't think there's anything to understand.
Is it the baby's first birthday, or is it just a cake smashing party? Because I could get behind the cake smashing party just for fun.
It's their first birthday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. I feel like I probably did that even though that wasn't the intention of the first birthday party.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that they smash.
I would do that for my dog, though.
You would do a cake smash party for your dog?
Yeah. I feel like I might now.
I really want to get a reptile and have a gender reveal for it now that we've brought this up.
Well, let's do that. You get a reptile, you do a gender reveal party, and then I'll do a cake smash for my dogs.
Perfect.
I feel like that can be kind of like a combined event.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I like
it. Okay, so now that we've really gone left field here,
and probably made some people turn off. So.
Oh, wow. Man, bye. Okay, so this, I guess now that you brought this up, I was going to ask you about what your opinion is on playing gay and straight roles in films.
I mean, I think versatility is important in films in the bedroom. Sorry, you said you wanted to make people uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Let's go there.
No, I mean, sexuality in general is, thought to be fluid. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's a lot of people, I think, that don't even identify necessarily as gay or straight, and it's more about the person that they're interested in. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important for, if people are comfortable with it, to be able to play both gay and straight roles. I mean, I personally, I identify as gay. I've only ever dated, in my adult life, only ever dated men. I dated women in high school just, because that's what you were supposed to do in Indiana. I don't know if I mentioned I'm from Indiana. Mike Pence is from there. Long story. If you want to talk about Riff.
You and Pence go way back.
Oh, yeah. But, I have no issues, playing straight roles on screen.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I met you, I feel like I wouldn't have known for a while.
I get that a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And then what do you feel about it being the other way around?
Straight people playing gay roles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't have any issues with it personally. I know that there are some people in the LGBT community that feel very strongly that those roles should go to people of the LGBT community, because there are so few of those roles. Mm-hmm. From a business perspective, you want to put out the best product.
Yeah.
So I think from a film and enjoying the film and making sure it's real, you want the best actor to get the job. You want the best person on screen that is portraying the emotions and the story and the role that is going to portray it. So, if I'm, looking at an audition tape, you can't tell who's gay and who's straight and who they're sleeping with, and it's really none of your business. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you would actually ever differentiate that. And it's absolutely inappropriate to ask.
Yeah.
So I guess from my perspective, if I'm ever, casting or doing an audition on that end, which I have for specific roles, obviously we did that for Reveal, who people were sleeping with or how they identified from a sexuality perspective didn't play. It was play into the casting decision. It was whoever was the best fit for that role.
Yeah, that's awesome. And by the way, your other star, looked like Lenny Kravitz. So congratulations.
and he sounded a bit like Lenny Kravitz too.
Oh my gosh. He was great. I don't think I talked to him though, but I saw him and I was like, wow, you look like a smaller version of Lenny Kravitz. My mom would die if she saw you. But that's interesting because, I know a lot of people have opinions about that. And I know in acting class, Irene, she would always say that she believes an actor should be gender fluid. That's plays to your advantage in terms of being able to step into any type of a role or anything like that. Yeah. So what kind of roles do you want to play? Oh, wait. Okay. Hold on. Before I ask you that, because that just popped into my head, you brought up something that I think about a lot. And we've kind of talked about it before, but you were talking about the business aspect of selling a product, mm-hmm. which is your art. And I feel like in this industry, there are so many people that are so emotional and talented in the terms of being able to step into different characters and live in different emotions. But then when it comes to the business side of things, and that totally is a business, people flounder. So how do you balance between those two so well?
Well, I don't know if I found the right balance even. I think I'm still, trying to find it every day. Mm-hmm. I've been a scientist for 15 years now. And something I had to learn, if I was developing a new assay in the lab, on the science side was, you don't, just because you can, or even in my PhD, just because you have a tool or an assay or, an assay is a type of an experiment for those of you that aren't scientists. Just because you can use it doesn't mean you need to use it. You need to think about who your customer is. So anything you're going to do, you have to think about the purpose of that. So we have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of energy in a day or a week or a month or whatever.
In life or in science?
Well, I'm going back to life now.
Okay.
So anything you're going to put your time and energy into, you have to think about what that output is and who your customer is. And, bringing it back to that, on the science side, I had to think about that experiment. And if it wasn't being valued, if it wasn't being used to make decisions, I had to put my efforts elsewhere and make sure that it was, being used on that business end. From an acting perspective, I think I've had that same mentality. That, there's a lot of things I can audition for. There's a lot of roles. There's a lot of classes I can take. I could spend a lot of time on Instagram, but, you have to think about what that purpose is and what's going to help you get your goals. There was not to completely nerd out on you, but there's a Harvard study, and they looked at a lot of...
I love studies.
Well, they did a lot of... I'm not going to give you statistics, but they did do a study on some Harvard grads, and they followed them for X amount of years, and there were 3 different groups of people. And the people that had no goals made less income. The people that had goals but didn't write them down were higher, but the people that had very specific goals and wrote them down had the highest amount of income. Now, I'm not saying this is all about making income, but I think you can apply that same thing to the business side of acting. So what I tend to do is I have very specific goals. I have goals for this year, and I know how I want to achieve them. And if I see opportunities that don't align with the goals, it doesn't mean I discard them, but I have to think very closely about how that's going to help me achieve the goals I want for that year.
Brilliant. I actually think I've seen that study before, from like when I write for people. But so how do you say no to things?
It's never no, it's more not now.
Oh my gosh. Get out of here. Yeah, no, that's a great way to say it. Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is just no, but normally it's just, someone may have a good idea, but it just may not be the right time. A lot of life is timing. So, maybe, you can't collaborate with everyone, today. So maybe you're going to work with someone in the future.
Yeah. What are your goals for this year, or that you would like to share?
That I like to share. So, one of the big goals, obviously, I take into the context that we're in a pandemic. I think it's the 3rd time I mentioned this. For those of you that weren't listening, get your vaccines.
From the scientist, from Dr. Willy himself.
One of the big goals I have is to write. I want to write 2 feature films, and one very big stretch goal I have within that is to sell one of them.
Like to sell the script.
To sell the script itself, yeah. So that's one very specific, within the branch, that's a very specific set of goals I have. So that's an example of how specific they are.
Yeah.
Now, who I sell that to, that's open. I don't have that written down specifically.
Yeah. Do you write all of these things down?
Yeah, I do write them down.
How often do you write them down?
Beginning of the year, I try to do it, and this isn't like a New Year resolution thing. I think I just kind of picked this up from my work life training. It's almost like a performance goal setting. I'll write them down in the beginning of the year in a journal and say this is what I want to achieve. I make them specific, and I review them every now and then just to see if I'm on track or not. And they're flexible. You may look at them and say I'm not that interested in this anymore.
Yeah. I think that's one thing I struggle with sometimes, where I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to keep doing this because I wrote it down and because I made a goal of it. But then I'm like, no, it's okay to stop sometimes. Yep. It's like navigating the difference between like moving on for a good reason and like giving up.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I actually had an orchestra director in high school. She gave me some of the best advice I ever heard. And it's, you should always have goals and, things you're aiming for, but don't be so focused on that goal that you miss out on other good opportunities. So don't be afraid to move away from something, because it's not working, or because your life changes. Obviously, as you picked up from me, like I've gone in a few different directions.
What? Yeah, no, that's cool. Okay. So you did music when you were younger, and you have a degree in it.
Correct. Yeah. I went to Eastman.
Yeah. You did percussion.
Yes.
When I was upstairs in your house, I saw your, what is that thing called?
It's called a marimba.
A what? A marimba?
Marimba. It's like a big xylophone, but it's made of rosewood, and it's a little bit more mellow.
I remember playing one of those when I was a child.
Yeah?
A xylophone?
Oh, xylophone. I was like, marimba? You played a marimba when you were a child?
No, but you know what? I actually, when I was in like second grade, I started band, and I wanted to play the tuba. That was like the only instrument that I wanted to play. And the teacher told me that I was too small to play it. And then, so they gave me the French horn, and I did that for a long time. And then I got into middle school, and I didn't like how big this instrument was. And it was like nerdy to be in band. And I didn't want people to know I was in band. And so I switched.
So you did sports?
No. So my parents were like, Kirsten, you're going to do band. And then, so I stayed in band, but I switched and I started playing the flute because it would fit in my backpack. So that's my band story.
Sorry, my mind went straight to American Pie.
I'm sure it did. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I played the French horn, the flute, and the piano.
Oh, yeah, you put the piano recordings on your story every now and then. No, you're good at piano.
Yeah, I play the piano. So the other stuff I don't. Really, we're getting off topic, but I found a piano.
We'll switch it, and I'll ask you questions.
Oh, totally, go for it. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I'm not trying to like grill you. That's for later. No, but we like my roommates and I found a piano in the garage of the house we were living in one night at a party, and we just all found out that like four of us could play the flute. And so we're like drunkenly playing the flute at like midnight.
You're all playing the same flute?
We passed it.
And that's how COVID started?
No, this was back in like 2016 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so you play the marimba. What an interesting instrument to get into. How does one pick that? And how old were you?
So I started drum set lessons when I was in third grade. And then my sister, she was playing the saxophone. So she was a couple years older than me. And she was in the marching band. She started like in 8th grade or something. I think this is how it went. I don't know. If it's not, this is how it goes now. And I was just like sitting at home in 6th grade, like just like chilling. I was taking private lessons, but I remember I was like playing like Nintendo or something. And my mom got a call from my private instructor, and they're like, hey, we need someone else like in the front line of the pit for the marching band. And they needed someone to play the marimba. So I was like, I don't have anything else to do this summer. Because I was in band, I didn't have any friends. So
just the band friends.
Yeah, exactly. So so I just went there and I just went with it, and I loved it. And I told my mom like I wanted one. So like my sophomore year of high school, she got me one, and I because I was staying after school every day to practice. I just loved it that much. And then I started doing like soloing with symphonies, and it just kind of like skyrocketed. And then I went to school for it, and then
wow.
That's it.
Yeah. Why do you think you fell in love with it?
I mean, I think the same reason a lot of people fall in love with any musical instrument, because you just kind of, you're creating music. It brings out that, like, you can, like, kind of like I'm struggling to say words right now. It allows you to express emotions and express feelings and stuff that you can't find the words to do, and you can just kind of zone out and
like live in the sound.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's how I feel when I play the piano sometimes. But as you were talking about, we're talking about band. Why was it that in high school, or just like growing up, that band was like this nerdy thing, yet as adults, like musicians are some of the most like sexy people alive? What is that about?
That is a good question. I don't know why.
Like all of those, like Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't know why she comes to mind.
I blame it on marching band uniforms.
John Mayer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They just need cooler marching band uniforms. And then
like if guys played shirtless and girls were like in leotards.
Yeah.
And there was like flames coming out of the instruments. Mm-hmm. Then that would totally be the cool thing to do.
Yeah, so if like halftime shows for high school were a little bit more like the Super Bowl halftime show, then it would probably be fine.
Oh, true. That's a good point. Yeah. Because I know that you went through like a huge transformation in your life from a health perspective. Do you think that, like, where did that come from? Like, how did you like one day be like, I'm going to do this, and then now you're here? Because I feel like a lot of people like yo-yo, or it doesn't work, or there's so many different things.
Yeah, so you're referring to me losing like 115 pounds?
Yeah, that health transformation.
So there were 4 of us growing up, 4 kids. We all struggled with being overweight at some point in our lives. But
like, welcome to the Midwest, man.
Yeah, I know. It's
all the cream of wheat soups.
Well, we had fried everything at the state fair.
Oh.
But my father passed away when I was 10 from a massive heart attack.
Oh, wow.
He was 36. He was very young. So I think the older I got, the more I realized that I probably needed to do something about my weight. You know, my younger brother and sister, I think it hit them first. They really, got into, healthier lifestyles, weightlifting. My sister actually went to school for nutrition. And as I got older and, was getting bigger, and, I'm only 5'7", technically 5'6" and 3/4, but I put 5'7" on all my official documents. I saw them getting healthier, and, I just looked in the mirror one day and I was just like, I need to do something about this. I was pre-diabetic, and so I just started eating healthy and exercising. I made some goals, and I decided I was going to run a half marathon within a year.
Wow.
So I did, ran a few of them, and then I started making more goals. I was going to beat my record, and, and now I am, about 150, and I have some other goals now. Then I broke my back or threw my back out. I guess I didn't break it, but.
Wow. How long did that take?
It was a long journey. I didn't do it overnight. I didn't take any magic pills or anything.
Yeah.
It was 10 years. It was about a 10-year journey. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool though that you did it, I think. That's a hard thing to fight through.
Yeah, it is a huge accomplishment. And my older sister is doing that right now herself. And, she's going on an amazing journey. And it's kind of fun watching her, with her, hopefully she doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but it's really inspiring to watch her go through it and the excitement in her eyes. So.
Yeah. And like to see, I think that it's, just in any way to like watch your body change, and knowing like that you can do so much with it is like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like anything that you learned from that is like in what you do now?
You mean like writing or acting or anything?
Just in general, or like any like lessons that you took away from that experience?
Motivation. I think part of it is like, knowing that you can, I know this sounds like super cliche, but you can do, I would say, almost anything you set your mind to. I would say anything, but there are some limitations, obviously.
Yeah. Interesting. What was the hardest thing for you to give up or like to change?
Oh man, I was super addicted to soda when I first started. I was drinking like 5 or 6 every meal. Like, it was bad.
Whoa.
Yeah, and now I just drink water and coffee now.
5 or 6 sodas in one meal?
Oh yeah. Like it was like we would go out to eat, and like the waitress would just keep coming around. And it was bad. Yeah.
Wow. There's a friend of mine was telling me about how like Coca-Cola and Pepsi they basically make the majority of their money off of what's called super users. Mm-hmm. So it's like that. It's like someone who drinks like a 12-pack a day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you stay hydrated? Anyway, so that was the hardest thing for you to give up.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest thing. Yeah.
Wow. Do you ever drink soda now?
I think the last time I had one was pre-COVID. Probably I was at a bar and I had like a rum and Coke. So I don't know if that really counts, but
Yeah. Does it taste the same to you or different?
Well, I had rum in it, so it was.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
And it was pretty strong.
It was very Remy Coke. This is like nowhere near the same thing, but I gave up when I was younger. I gave up soda for Lent back when I used to go to church. And I went to go to drink a soda like afterwards, and it tasted completely different to me. And it like wasn't appealing. Like the carbonation hurt my chest, and it tasted like really syrupy. And I was like, why did I like this before?
Yeah, if you drink like straight soda after giving it up, you definitely taste like all that syrup, and it's almost like overbearing.
Yeah. And then I was like, whoa, I used to love this. What? And now I like don't really drink it anymore. Sorry, this is not sponsored by Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Just kidding. Okay, so you made Reveal, and you've been in a handful of other things, and you've been on some pretty big sets. Have you had any like run-ins with people or like funny experiences?
I've been on a couple big sets. There's some that obviously I can't talk about because of NDAs, but but there's a few that are already on IMDb or whatever that you can see, like some people from I can't remember the guy's name, the guy from This Is Us, and some lady from This Is Orange Is New Black. So I'm getting shows mixed up now, and I'm really bad with names apparently.
This is Orange.
This is Orange. This is the Orange Us Black. But yeah, it's actually really interesting being on those big sets and some of the bigger name directors. Just kind of watching them do their magic, how they set up their shots, and yeah.
That's cool. I remember this was like a long time ago when I was in college, like before I had any like interest in like anything at this point in time. I was just like, my life was just like sports, like swimming, party, college, like that was it. And a friend of mine knew someone that was working on a set, and they were like looking for people to be extras. And so her and I went, and we were extras, and it was this movie. It's on Netflix, and Ja Rule is like one of the main characters. Is like Ja Rule and one of the Cheetah Girls, and we're like in a club, and like her and I are like dancing with like a group of guys or whatever. And I will never forget, I was blown away by like two things. One, Ja Rule is like 5'7", so he's short.
No, sorry. that's not short.
That's not short. He is average male height, which is actually true. I think 5'7" is average male height.
It's a very respectable male height.
This is correct. And so I noticed that Ja Rule wasn't over 6 foot. Second thing that I noticed was that everything is silent. And this was like the first time I'd ever been on a set, so I didn't realize, like in a club scene, everyone's dancing, but literally it's like crickets.
Yeah, because of sound.
Yeah, I know. But like for the first time experiencing that, I was like, and then ever since then, when I watch movies, I always look at the extras, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like they're like moving their mouths, but they're not really saying anything. And like no one's truly like dancing totally on beat together, because everyone has like a beat made up in their mind.
Yeah, there was one really big set I was on, and there were some extras that they had been in like a lot of movies, and they kind of knew all the tricks on how to get on camera and everything.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. And
what are the tricks?
They didn't tell me. They wanted to make sure they were on camera, but they knew how to do it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very interesting. I didn't really appreciate it until, really being on set more. I think a lot of people think that like you shoot everything straight through. Like you just have multiple cameras getting all the angles. Because I remember my mom watching something, and it was really complex, and she's like, wow, how did they get that? How did they get all that? I'm like, well, they just, get it in different shots and edit it together. And
yeah.
She's like, it just like, I think you appreciate it more after being on set and seeing some of those complex shots be taken.
Oh, totally. And you realize that how many times they probably shot that same scene, like based upon how many different angles they're taking and like how many close-ups they have. And like, it just like that person probably said that line at least 100 times.
Yeah. And actually, one more time does not mean one more time.
What is your least favorite thing about acting?
Memorizing lines. I mean, isn't that everyone's least favorite thing? It's so much fun once you have the line memorized and you get to really dive into the character and just, like, explore that and play around with the words, and especially when you're acting with someone else.
Yeah.
And you're taking someone in and playing with that. But just that initial part of just like memorizing the lines. I think a lot of people think that's all acting is, but that's just like the first part.
That's like the intro to get into the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a bitch to do.
Yeah, especially if it's not written well.
Yeah, that's like, I will never forget trying to do that short little audition that you were helping me with on Zoom, and it was like literally 4 lines or something like that, and for some reason, for the life of me, I just could not remember them. And you were like, yeah, Kirsten, that's because these lines literally would never be said out loud by a human ever, so that's why you're struggling to remember them. I'm like, why is this so difficult? I didn't get the part.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, I think so too. I was not upset about that. I was like, okay, peace, thanks. Yeah. But you've been auditioning quite a bit.
Yeah, I just got a new agent. She is awesome. She is, I think, she's getting me an audition like almost every day, which is great for, a pandemic. Is that the 5th time I mentioned it?
Yeah, dear God, we're just looking for a little reprieve here. I feel bad because as soon as like my family always likes to talk about it, and as soon as they bring it up, I'm like, oh God, here we go again. Or like not even just them, it's like a lot of people. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to talk about this again.
Although, I mean, we do have great weather for January in a pandemic.
Oh, I know, yeah. You know what? The sunset today was really just beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
And thank you all so much for tuning in. Actually, okay, so I feel like perhaps it's time for us to do a new section, a segment of the show. You're my first.
It's called a guinea pig.
Thank you. I was going to say victim. That works as well, though. So as of right now, this section is called Rapid Fire Questions. I'm feeling very whispery today. Are you ready?
Yes.
Have you braced yourself?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay.
Did that turn you on?
No, it would just give me, I think it was like a little bit like, like the ASMR thing where you kind of get like the ooh when you hear something. Rapid fire questions. Okay, number 1. What is on your nightstand?
2 books that I'm supposed to be reading but have not opened yet.
That's it.
And a lamp.
Fair enough. How would you describe your dance moves?
Non-existent.
What? Oh my gosh, that's right. The one time that we all went out as a group and we went to that club and everyone was dancing. You were not.
I gotta be really drunk to dance.
Oh. And then when you're really drunk, what does it look like?
I don't know. Probably not that good.
Not that good would be your description. When was the last time you were really lazy?
Monday. I had the day off.
What'd you do?
Lied on the couch and watched Don't Judge Me on Man with a Plan.
What is that?
It's that new Matt LeBlanc. I don't know if it's new, but that Matt LeBlanc sitcom.
Oh.
I've watched like everything else on Netflix. So.
You know what I recently watched? The Epstein documentary series on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
Wow. I don't know why I started watching that because I started it and then I was enrolled in it and I couldn't stop at that point. And I think it's like 5 episodes long. It was disturbing and equally fascinating at the same time. Not necessarily recommending it, just acknowledging that was what I watched recently. Okay, moving right along here. What part of a kid's movie totally scared you?
Ooh, Babes in Toyland.
What is that?
It was a really old Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh, Keanu.
And there was this part where they had like these really big, giant, like bird feathery things that like were chasing them, and that was just it was scary.
Was it a cartoon?
No, it was a live action.
Oh
yeah, go watch it.
Say the name of it again.
Babes in Toyland.
That sounds like some creepy shit.
Yeah, it was a really old Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah. Wow. I was thinking more along the lines of the vacuum cleaner in A Brave Little Toaster, but that's just me personally.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I don't think I have.
What? You've never seen A Brave Little Toaster?
Okay, you go home and watch Babes in Toyland. I'll go watch The Brave Little Toaster.
Okay, will do. Okay. I can't believe that. What sport would be the funniest to add a mandatory amount of alcohol to?
Skydiving.
Is skydiving a sport?
I mean, I don't know. It's outside.
Yeah, that would be scary. People would die for sure.
Oh, wait, did you say funny or scary?
Funny.
Still works.
Oh my God. Everyone's like, I think I'm close to landing.
Well, mostly if they're coming down and then like they vomit.
Oh, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
My thoughts immediately went to like people smattering on the ground because their depth perception was super skewed.
I was thinking we're just vomiting all over everyone down below.
Oh, due to like the extreme motion?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny. Okay, the creepiest thing you could say to a stranger on the street.
Thanks for last night.
As you're walking by. What is your death row meal?
Mac and cheese, lobster, filet mignon, a bottle of Merlot, a triple chocolate cheesecake, and broccolini.
That was not what I was expecting. Really? Broccolini, huh?
Martha Stewart's mac and cheese, to be specific.
Oh, why Martha Stewart's mac and cheese?
Because it's awesome.
I feel like whenever I hear her, I just think of jail.
But she has good mac and cheese recipe.
Okay. I'm not a mac and cheeser, but I'll have to check it out. Okay. Do you have any questions for me before I ask you the final question?
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7". Sometimes when they measure me, I'm 5'7.5". But I just go by 5'7". That was it. That was what you wanted to ask me.
Did you want a hard question?
You can ask me whatever you wanted to ask me, but I'm like a genie. You just like chose that. You could just come stand next to me and guess. I think we're roughly the same height.
If you had 3 wishes, which one would you use second?
The second one.
Yeah, the second wish. What would your second wish be?
Oh, not my first wish?
I don't care about your first and third. What would your second wish be?
I would wish for the ability to answer every question right away.
It took you a long time to think of that.
Why do you say the second?
It's like your throwaway wish. Because the first one, like you want right away. And the third one, you think about the most. And the second one is just like, if it doesn't work out, I got another one.
Oh. What would yours be?
Probably mac and cheese. I don't know.
Oh, really? I was thinking like endless access to amazing sex. That could be like that wouldn't be like your first or your last, but it would be nice.
Probably just a really nice house on the beach that like I'd never had to pay for. It was just always furnished with food. And
a house with food. A beach home with food. Yeah. I feel like when people ask the genie questions, it's like, I want to have an infinite number of wishes. I want to have endless amounts of money because then I don't need wishes. I can just do whatever I want, whatever it may be. So you got to like try to like give yourself
more
some
creative
boundaries here. Yeah. Okay. So the final question: who wears your pants?
Well, I'm wearing them right now. Is that the right answer?
There is no wrong answer, and there is also no right answer. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. This has been a lot of fun. Do you have anything else that you would like to share or add, or where can people find you? Where can they find your movie? All of those things.
Yeah. Pretty much all my information is on Instagram, and then you can find everything about me from there.
Okay.
So my name is Jeff. Last name is Willy. Dr. Jeff Willy.
It's not on Instagram though. Sorry, I'm confusing people.
My Instagram is really weird. It's World Travello, so just look me up by my name. I need to change it.
Why is that?
So like I was traveling once and I was like, I need a new Instagram handle. So I thought it was witty because it's like I'm a world traveler and I'm saying hello. It was supposed to be kind of punny, but no one gets it. So, and now I've just had it so long I don't want to change it.
Oh my gosh, that's what that is. The Travello is hello, but you're Travelloing. But all right, well, thank you so much for being here, Dr. Willy.
Thanks for having me.
/ World Travello, Jeff.
Thank you, Ms. Kirsten.
Kirsten?
That's how we say it in Indiana.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Who Wears Your Pants. Please do me a favor and hit subscribe. Leave me a review or a comment so that I can turn this disaster of a show into something great. I need you. No, seriously, I do. And if you're feeling really invigorated, check out my corner of the interwebs at kirstentrammell.com, or let's get really social on the gram at Kirsten__Trammell, because as a ginger, I need all the friends I can get. Peace and love, my homies. I will see you next time.